Welcome back to the English broadcast of the LPL Week 8 and our special broadcast here on Wednesdays. Usually not here, it's a bit lonely up here as well because there's only the three of us, but I've got you guys to keep me company.
I'm never lonely with you.
Ah, thanks, Clement. That's all I needed to hear. That keeps me going. But every day of my life I wake up and it's like, well, at least I got Clement in my life. It's
that
all
doesn't
good.
keep me going, but we can move on.
Oh, well, okay. Let's go ahead and talk about EDG
Do I need to
and
leave?
see.
Is this like a double date? Like
Something's definitely happening, but EDG, what keeps them going? Because Haro in the jungle, it seems to be a major problem for them, and you ask, well, can he play around someone else? Can he go to a different lane? Well, if Haro is unable to win the 2v2 on top side or 3v3, then what happens?
The bottom line is that EDG is still gonna play around their bot lane. Their two best players are iBoy and Mako is the one that really starts everything. It's really about how they restructure the picks to make it even easier for something to finally happen. And like FLICKR was saying on the break, please ban the Tahm Kench because that gives Crystal so many outs.
They will have to because Snake decides to go for blue side in this one, so if they want to prior pick it, they can.
anytime our producer hit us like, okay, Snake on blue side, I was like, well, they're gonna priority Tahm Kench again because that's the best way to neutralize the bot lane, which means that EDG, I expect that they should have a Tahm Kench ban on the blue side, or excuse me, on the red side. But that means they need to give up either the Jarvan, the Zac, or the Ryze. Ryze being one of Guoguo's best champions, and then SOFM very well known for his Zac and Jarvan. He's usually the primary initiation tool for Snake, and I don't think I necessarily mind giving away the Jarvan at this point, though. I feel like that's the one that you can let that one go because you can get a decent matchup, especially with Haro's champion pool, because he's also a great Jarvan player in that jungle and help him out there.
Yeah, they're banning out the Jarvan because they know they're not banning the Galio, so if they leave both of those open, then there's a real chance that Snake just move into the Cannonball. Exactly. However, I do agree that I don't think Jarvan is as strong in this meta. It gives up a lot of ganking opportunities, and SOFM is someone that can gank very heavily if you give him that pick, but yeah, I think you can give it to him.
And then the other pick that we were talking about during the break was the Cho'Gath. You know, if you're going to leave the Vladimir open, it's kind of this big trap, this big elephant in the room that you know Flandre is probably going to grab it. Ray is a great Cho'Gath player, and he also just feels like a better tank player at this point, at least for EDG. He had kind of that one good Camille game, and I'm starting to slide backwards on the Ray carry train.
Yeah, I don't really think he has shown great Rivens or great Camille games so far, so I think the way EDG can kind of dumb down their composition, like kind of reduce the necessary of a communication, is basically you go for hyper scaling AD carries. You don't need to win the lane that hard, but you can still have picks like Caitlyn or Tristana who have a decent chance in lane, and then you play a tank in the top lane. So at least there's never a point in the game, like the last game, where you can't fight a 5v5.
Sure, have less moving parts, less things to go wrong. Then if you look at Snake into the bottom lane, if they don't have Tahm Kench, then you need to look towards ways to protect your bottom lane then, right? So we're expecting another utility Ashe to come out. Well, Taric.
Hude is a great Taric player. I would expect either Braum or Taric. Taric's kind of more of a fringe pick in the LPL right now, was much more prevalent when we were seeing Jarvan with a higher priority, just looks how that champion works together. But if the Jarvan or the Zac go through because the Kench becomes a priority ban for EDG, then Taric really does increase in value for Hude because it fits with Snake's practice composition, and then either a Zac or a Jarvan pick that we know SOFM likes to use with.
And Snake has been the best team to use the Taric. They had this go onto your face composition with the Realm Warp and the Taric going invincible.
Go into your face.
Well, I just realized that it didn't translate very well into English, so
see, Clement always has an excuse. It's like it didn't translate well from Mandarin to English. Because I was thinking about it in Mandarin in my head.
The verb was sit, so the verb was sit in Chinese. So yeah, that's why. But it was basically they have a very good combo, and it can shut down hyper carries like the Cosmo.
That just clued into me as I was like, so the verb was sit, so the English sentence.
So the whole sentence. I understand.
It's accurate though because it's like a Jarvan, Galio, Taric composition, so that's pretty much what it does. We're gonna call it the dunk comp.
The dunk comp, yeah, it's definitely probably works better in English.
It's a bit more broadcast friendly.
For sure, man, that was hilarious. FLICKR and I just locked eyes and we were like, realized at the same time. Good stuff. We can see Snake's coach as well on our screens. Always a sight for sore eyes. Going to be saying, well, good job after game one because I didn't really need to say anything to you.
And I do want to give a shout out to Snake's coach. He's been with him the entire time. He's been benched. He's been brought back. But through thick and thin, from Snake going to relegation to coming now and being the #1 team in the West, at least for right now, we'll see how the series plays out. They can retain that spot. He has just been so passionate. And the first time that Snake took that victory over EDG to start them on their first place win streak was beautiful to watch. I mean, the dude like almost went Superman, like ripped open his shirt and just
hugged everyone. And there was so many good lines from Crystal saying that, you know, when I eat the hot pot, the other team can eat the scraps. And it's like going on the microphone. They had a hot mic situation where he was, I believe he was fine, but he was very jubilant about their victory over EDG because it took them so long.
Crystal, B tier ADC, S tier shit talker.
Definitely true, and he's got another chance to do it here today because he's got the 1-0 over EDG, so they just need one more win and it'll be the clean sweep.
This is how Goku likes to wear his headphones. He always has flaps. They call them ears by the Chinese community, so he's kind of the bunny rabbit of the LPL.
I was gonna say, he's probably the bunny, isn't he?
Yeah. Candace actually asked him about this, and he said, I'm keeping it this way. I keep winning with it.
Fair enough. That's pretty cute, actually. Cool. So Snake, they're going to come out with these bans, and it will be Camille, Olaf, and Sion from their side. Tam Kench banned away from Snake. No more of those first picks, and the Jarvan actually coming in here with the Skarner underneath.
If this is a priority pick Rise, are you ready for Scout's Azir?
I hope he doesn't pick it for his own sake, but this does leave EDG pretty open for the Xayah Rakan.
It also means that I hope that Scout doesn't go for the Azir. Clem and I have talked extensively about this in game number 1. If you missed that, game number 2, I know that LPL teams like to take Azir into Rise. I hope it's the Taliyah. I really want Scout's Taliyah.
That is the pick that he recently has gone for on the as a counter to the Rise, but Azir has also been his most played, and he does really like the champion for a stable second carry on the team. This is an interesting hoover.
It's that word again. Interesting.
It's SOFM, dude. Like, he'll do this all the time.
Oh, there we go.
This is going to be... Okay, so we are setting up to be a Cho'Gath. Hopefully Taliyah. Okay, here we go.
Sejuani, Alistar, and...
It's also worthy to note that Snake have flexed the Rise to the top lane just as a Gnar counter. So they've done that before, and they can do it again.
He could do. Ray also shows a propensity to move towards the Gnar pick that we were talking about. Perhaps a tank, something like a Cho'Gath to go into the top lane, especially into the into the Vladimir.
I like the Caitlyn much more than I do the Xayah. It gives you so much more power in late game team fights, and you're not beholden to certain compositions. Oh, please don't. Please. Oh, come on. Scout, please. Scout. Okay, that's a better pick. That's a better pick. I like Orianna against Snake.
Oh, that's a better pick.
Yeah, that works into both Rise and the Vladimir.
It also opens up access to that hyper carry as well. Not that Orianna can't do it, but no one really protects the backline like Cassiopeia. The threat of trying to dive back there and having her ultimate available, it should mean that Snake have this giant target of, okay, goodbye, Caitlyn.
Our Cassiopeia in LPL has a 70% win rate, and that's because we always use it as a counter pick. It's much more prevalent compared to the LCK. And this is a champion that Flandre also does, this is a champion that Wokwoo actually plays a lot as well. So in this matchup, you're going to look for a lot of attention from SOFM to try to shut down Scout early.
Yeah, having access to that lock rune prison. Sorry, I played Rise for the first time last night. I was like, this is easy mode.
Just roll your face across the keyboard.
If you don't use your Q and E, then yes, it's easy.
You just press you could literally fall asleep on the keyboard.
Once you're in range, you just unload on people.
They didn't ban Caitlyn. Instead, decided to go for the safer ADC in Tristana. Oh boy.
Tristana ban and Gnar ban towards EDG. And there's the Varus from iBoy. So it's also a takeaway from Crystal, remember, because it's one of the champions that he's looked really good on. However, he'll have to move somewhere else. Maybe an Ashe, maybe a Jhin.
But that's still a mid-range ADC that's not making the most of the protection that you get from Cassiopeia, and then it's shifting responsibility to Scout in terms of late-game damage scale. Varus will fall off. I will say this, EDG do have a great Baron window between the Alistar, Cassiopeia, and 2-item power spike on Varus. At 20 to 25 minutes, they can decimate Baron and have Alistar zone for them. But if they don't do that...
Yeah, this is EDG going for another mid-game composition right there. They have a very good stall, but the question is, what are they stalling up to? You can hold the ramp forever, but you're not really going to out-damage the likes of a Caitlyn if that is what Snake decides to pick up.
Yeah, what's your end game right here? We're going to see SOFM take a page out of Ning's book, who took a page out of SOFM's book, and we'll see the Gragas back here today for Snake into the jungle, and also the Ashe once more for Crystal.
I actually like Gragas a lot more in Snake's composition than I do in Victus Gaming, because it is a Cassiopeia and a Varus.
Oh!
Did he lock that in?
Please, please don't be a mispick. It's not a mispick.
I don't think that's even a good matchup. Why would you pick Urgot? Okay,
Yeah,
we
I
have
actually
the
think-
Urgot expert
Hello.
right here.
What's up?
Why
Hi.
would you pick Urgot into Vladimir?
I have no
911.
idea. This is not a good matchup. I would not want to pick this into Vladimir.
So we were talking about the team fight, you know, how EDG should have a 5v5 team fight. They can go in late game, and then they pick the Varus and the Urgot.
So if it was Rise top, I'd be like, yeah,
I'd like to
okay.
report a murder.
So the reason it would work into Rise because you can get through the Rune Prison, since if you're in the animation of it, you just go through. But the problem with the Vladimir matchup is that, well, he just goes Sanguine Pool, slows you down, and runs away from you.
You never want a team fight with the Urgot, so I actually don't know what EDG want to do anymore. Are they trying to play a 4-1? But we've never seen a split push with the Urgot either. Urgot is the type of champion where you win early and you crush the entire game, or just doesn't do anything.
So there's a small interaction that is good into Vladimir, because with the ultimate, as soon as you're below 25%, it won't give him a chance.
You have to have focus and attention. Like, this
Yeah.
could no longer just be a completely bottom lane focused EDG if they want this Urgot pick to actually thrive and work, and not just be, you know, I wish this was a Cho'Gath or a Gnar or any other champion right now come mid-game.
So this is the opposite of basically what the analyst desk was suggesting. It's just like, well, we want less responsibility on Hara to win the 2v2 in the top lane or bottom lane, but this is more responsibility on Hara now to win the 2v2, because if he doesn't, the Urgot will fall behind, top lane will collapse.
We also wanted Ray to go back to the tanks because we felt that nothing against Ray, it just is working better for EDG because they're so ADC focused. Just put a front line in front of them, and Urgot can be that, but not as good as other picks.
Urgot is not a front line. If you look at his build, his first item is Black Cleaver, and then he keeps on building damage items until the third.
Well,
so when that team fight comes around, he's thin as paper. He might look like a big burly dude, but he doesn't hold up at all.
Well, let's see if it pays off, because they need this win right now to stay even with Snake, and the crowd's still going at it. Snake versus EDG, game 2. Can Snake make the sweep?
I think Urgot players are weird.
Was that really necessary?
No, that was aimed at you.
I understand
all the other Urgot mains, you guys are cool.
Plus, like, no, I understand it was an insult.
You could have said it when I was out of the room, at least.
Okay, but if he does win, this will be the first Urgot win of the LPL.
And
Yeah, it's
we've
also
had
the
it
second
played
game.
multiple times.
Game played it. Wait, I think just Game played it, right?
Yes.
Played it twice.
Because
This
Zoom
is our
played
third in
Yorick
Urgot.
once.
The fact that I can sentences I never thought I would say. This is our third Urgot pick.
You can count it on one hand, but it's still happening. He's going
That's
to go
one
for
too many
the.
hands.
He's gone for the Comet right here as well. It's going back to the old Urgot build, pretty much, where you just want to land that Q.
Get him.
And he's probably gone. I want to say Domination second. We'll see.
We can see that both bot laners are leashing for their jungle. We expect this of Hudea and Crystal because, again, they pretty much know that against iBoy and Mako, all they need to do is survive. Although the matchup is a little bit better because it's Braum versus Alistar, so 2 melee support. So they're not just going to get completely shut out like Rakan versus Kench.
Yes, Varus does have a slight edge in terms of trading just because of his E range going over the minions. However, it's not a huge thing.
Yeah, and Varus' trading really comes online when he gets multiple spells that can just flick and fling at you. He doesn't like to just trade with his auto attacks. It's also why I really like the Varus into Caitlyn matchup, because once Varus is level 2, level 3, he can actually trade really effectively with her, and not a lot of champions can say that.
Yeah, Varus gets most of his damage front-loaded because he's more of a spell caster AD carry. A small note to all you ADC players, if you want to play Varus, you can instantly fire the Q. It still has a 1.0 AD ratio on it, so you can just throw that whenever.
If we take a look at the Gragas runes, this seems fairly standard to what Ning was also running, and like I was saying in Champion Select, I actually prefer the Gragas in Snake's composition than IG's comps, simply because he is looking at a Varus Cassiopeia, and a Cass can do a lot of damage there.
Definitely can. Haru flashing after getting the stun down onto SOFM. Scout following up as well. It's a lot of damage fast over the wall, but that twin bang isn't there. Guoguo with the hero save.
That was so much patience on the Gragas, waiting to just traverse over to the wall where he could get away, where he could extend the range on his flash.
I also want to give huge credit to Haro setting up that trap, knowing that SOFM would try to go aggressive for the Raptors there, and the fact that SOFM really cheated his pathing to ignore blue buff, be very greedy with vision. But hold on, Haro.
SOFM still very low right here. He'll get a bit of extra health using a
because they have
happy
mid
hour.
lane priority.
Yeah, Guoguo and Flandre able to react, whereas Scout is going to be very, very late to it.
Yeah, that's the thing is that while SOFM was punished for Snake, Scout was really punished for EDG, losing his flash, because normally Cassiopeia would have priority in the mid lane here in this matchup if it was just a 1v1. But because of how things turned out, SOFM isn't punished in the end, grabs his blue buff, and hello, Haro.
It's still
Here's
happening in the jungle right now. The 2 versus 2 should be able to go to EDG. However, the 3 versus 2 will definitely not, however. And Haro completely by himself as his ally flashes over the wall and leaves.
And this is the point about EDG. They're just not coordinated at all. They definitely knew that the Rise was leaving lane. There was no way they didn't know. They even had a ward down. So how does that happen?
Cassiopeia literally made eye contact with him, was like, see ya, mate.
Bye.
Where are you going?
Well, and then somehow Snake, after all of that, get a kill out of it and also move towards the blue buff here.
Say goodbye to Urgot.
Yeah, rest in peace.
A working phone. I feel like EDG just have like a 10 cans connected by a wire. It doesn't
what
go
was
that far.
I can't hear you.
I think it's probably pigeons or something.
Carrier
pigeons. Takes a
yeah,
while.
carrier pigeons. Yeah, it takes a, yeah, gotcha. Well, into the top lane. This is the matchup. So you try to land an E. It doesn't matter how much surprise you think you have over the opponent. As long as Sanguine pulls up, you pull, you run away, you're in range already because you try to E if you're the Urgot into the Vladimir. You get slowed down, he runs away, he's got Crimson Rush, and he just bullies you. In the bottom lane, however, Hudia taking a bunch of damage, also got ignited, looks like, from Mako. SOFM was thinking about this 2 versus 2, but we'll back away.
Yeah, good play by Mako actually to turn that one. The fact that he didn't go overzealous with his combo, held his Q and his W, meant that SOFM couldn't just commit there because Ali still had multiple cooldowns to deny him and possibly turn around a kill.
So I have a good stat for you. Urgot has played Vladimir 5 times internationally, all around the world. How many times do you think he's won?
I'm gonna hit you with a solid 0.
I'd say
Clement?
1.
0, yeah.
Oh.
He has not won a single time in
It's not a
Sorry.
good matchup.
It's not.
So I was trying to go for, you know, things might have happened in some of the
In
wild
at least
card
one
or
game.
international
Yeah, no, I
regions.
get you.
Yeah, we have like 23 regions or like professional regions or something.
How's
like,
that for a stat? Even in the wild card regions, Urgot still can't find a win.
It's bound to happen somewhere, but you know, there's just no universe where it happens.
By the law of probability, Guogo is going to get pushed out in this mid lane. Took a bunch of damage out from that Miasma and Twin Fang Harass.
Really good trading time by Scout, though. He wants to reverse the situation where he's sitting behind a summoner, so he decides to ult in when Haro is pathing through his lane. Unfortunately, unable to make it happen, but it still gives him a good back.
It was also a good idea. That was good.
There's going to be a lot of damage on the Mako, especially if the stun comes down. Has to flash away from it right there, otherwise he was definitely doomed. There's to be a bunch of damage onto Hudia, regardless though from iBoy. And Crystal, it's got to go back.
Still much rougher now that they don't have the Tahm Kench. You can see that Hudia is trying to do the best that he can, but Mako, his signature champion, is that Alistar. You can see why.
Mako has a lot of signature champions.
Well, if you're good at enough of them, then you can call them all your
Shen,
signature
Braum.
champions.
The faker of the support just plays anything. Incoming Aurelia support.
I mean, the guy is good. Hudia stepping up in the 1 versus 2. He really wants the interrupt onto iBoy, but Mako, man, best bodyguard in China.
That was so ballsy by Hudia. If you look right there, there was nobody there to save him. If they actually just turned on him, they could have killed him.
That's a hilarious thing. iBoy was like, no, this pickaxe is worth more than your dead body to me.
He's like, Snake, you are not fooling me. I know SOFM is right behind that brush. I will not trade with you right here.
It's the classic Gambit Diamond Prox idea that if you just go aggressive enough, you just assume the jungler's always there.
That's the LPL for you.
Teleport in the mid lane, counter gang coming out from Haro. Scout's just straight up dead to Guogo on the 1 versus 1. It will be traded on towards SOFM. Right. Now the 1v1 will ensue, but it's Sejuani into Rice. He should be able to get away though. The stun comes down and the minions are helping out here as well. Guogo will survive.
That's another massive miscommunication. So Scout hanged around because he thought his jungler and his support were coming. They were coming, but it was way too late.
It's carrier pigeons.
There we go.
It was just too late. There'll be another kill going over to Snake. It was a 1-for-1, however. We'll take a look. 1 kill went over to the jungler, 1 over to Guogo.
But it's the fact that the mid laner took the kill right there, and so oh. Come on, one more.
Oh. There we go.
Yeah, we didn't see it, but it was an off-screen flash from iBoy. Heard the sound effect.
And now, of course, what this means is that Ash's arrow, of course, is going to be up and available before iBoy's flash. The cast will also be available for SOFM. He's level 5 right now. He will be level 6, so I expect that a bot lane play to punish that should be in the possibility for Snake, in the cards.
We definitely see it. SOFM's moving down already. However, EDG did ping him out on the red buff. They know the timings for that. So they're playing very close to their tower.
And it means that they can't punish Crystal as heavily as they wanted to. So all of that aggression, all of those winning trades that we saw between iBoy and Mako, as this ward does spot out SOFM, should come to a halt because they want to keep the creep wave either neutral or pulled towards their tower.
SOFM should have just seen that die, however, but he is still waiting in the bottom lane.
How patient is he going to be? I've seen SOFM sit in a bush for 45 seconds before.
That's true. Like, surely the jungler would have gone back to base by now. Nope, I'm still here.
The wave is pushing in towards EDG, though. So he just...
Okay, well, he just walks out of the breast, places out a control ward, and leaves. Okay.
That'll show him.
Got him. Well, Blue Wolf will head over to Scout in the mid lane right there, and SOFM is going to walk up the river, going to meet Haro. But there is no push from Scout as he just went over to the donation, so Guogo is pushing up the mid lane.
Haro is shocked that he's there. Like, he didn't just walk across the bot lane.
Crystal going down.
Crystal, he's just straight up dead in a 2 versus 2 right here. Hudir backing away, but he's going to be collapsed on by Haro, has to flash over the wall. And Haro, why did you think you would possibly be able to jump over that with the Arctic Assault?
Well, that's iBoy and Mako for you. Like, unsuspectedly, out of the blue, they get a kill.
Well, the fact is that Hude and Crystal had to be extended forward because the wave was pushing in. So they're trying to get it to bounce against the tower, which does open up Mako to look for an engagement, especially because SOFM, again, eye contact, walks out of the lane.
Yeah.
My job here is done.
And Haro's like, well, great. I'll walk towards the bottom lane. I'll take out your ADC.
Because while iBoy not having flash makes him susceptible in a 2v2 or a 3v2 scenario, the 2v2 is, 3v2 scenario, the 2v2 is still in EDG's favor.
Yeah, that was just a mistake on Snake's part right there. The jungler was already out. They stayed way too long without a flash. And Mako was able to punish them instantly for that. Still has his flash and ult right here.
And now they're just going to force the tower and possibly more.
Yeah, they're looking for the Braum right now, and Scout is going to beat his opposing mid laner to the chase. Braum will die. The follow-up comes in. Scout still chasing down onto the Ash. That'll be the second kill. Now Guogo and SOFM walk in, but SOFM's like, I'll see you later. This cask is all you're getting, mate. Guogo jumps in 1 versus 4, but still gets the kill on the Sejuani, and they're turning it 2 versus 4 right now. Guogo's still getting chased down, and iBoy will eventually take him out. At least turn it into a 1-for-1.
And this is the classic EDG. It's not 8 minutes, it's closer to 10, but they take down a very early first tower. Now Mako is unlocked on the Alistar. They pick up more kills. So game 2 already going a completely different way than game 1.
Yeah, and it really comes off the back of the fact that EDG are one of the few bot lanes in the LPL where I feel like they consistently get 2v2 kills. The other two I would say would be like, I think SNG's bot lane is actually very good at that, and also sometimes Killua and SMLZ. Those three are the duos that you want to watch if you want to see lane kills.
They don't just come here to beat you in lane, they come here to kill you, and this was some good communication between Haro and Mako. I also love Mako's flash W on the back half of this.
Very well executed. I felt like the trigger was a bit late on Snake. They had the chance to actually just go away.
That was pretty sick.
That is hard to do.
Yeah, poor Haro.
Should be noted that TPs were used at the beginning of the fight and cancelled, so you can see Flandre's TP timer is charging up relatively quick. And
another
speaking
teleport.
of deep teleport.
That is exceptionally deep. And Crystal, well, I guess we should have a funeral for him already. Yeah, steal it with the ultimate, that's what I'm talking about. There we go, Urgot's on the board, ladies and gentlemen.
I just want to root for Snake, seeing that Urgot. No, I'm just kidding.
I just want to root for EDG, seeing that Urgot. But on the top side, it will allow Snake to move towards his Herald because multiple members were in the bottom lane. Urgot did use his TP for that one.
I will say this is still a better trade for Snake, however. Crystal's already kind of useless for the next 15 minutes. It doesn't really matter if he dies or not. Getting the Herald here and a bit of chip damage on the top tower, I think it's actually in Snake's favor.
Yeah, I don't mind the trade, especially because breaking those towers is so critical because EDG do have a great composition for access towards the Baron. So they need to get as much control around that pit before 20 minutes as possible. In
a reverse kind of way, EDG were able to exploit the bottom lane. It was really just around that Tam Kench more than anything else. Crystal, all that damage was just sticking. Yeah,
the biggest issue is that the wave was pushed forward, SOFM left. There was a communication with Hude and Crystal that they still needed to respect Mako's Alistar, so some false sense of security, and it completely completely turn the lane on its head.
It means that iBoy gets a very early Gwintu's rage bait over that hump right now. He's able to group up with the team, push towards the mid lane. Miasma's down. SFM and Hoodie are thinking about the engage. Going to be knocking Mako into the team. Flash forward onto iBoy right now. They've actually taken him out, but it's traded. But Hoodie is live. Flandre walks into the bottom, into the mid lane rather, looking for this engage. And will be able to back away with his team. It's a 1-for-1.
There's not going to be much chase potential though from Snake, simply because Crystal has virtually no damage at this point in the game. 0-3-1 on Ashe, sitting on the KFC variety bucket of itemization right now. So yes, they can do these quick burst plays and try to utilize Rise, but anything longer than 10 seconds, Snake just have to completely disengage from at this point.
That was still a great play from Snake, however. They broke the power, the item spike from iBoy and that push on an EDG in one fell swoop. And the coordination there is really, it's really contrasting between EDG and Snake. The level they're able to play and execute these team fights. You can see Snake right there, clean alley-oop, forces iBoy's flash, and then follows up with the Braum ultimate into the Vladimir damage immediately. That was really fun to watch.
I don't even know if it was an alley-oop. It felt like just like a granny toss to me. Like he planted above his feet, looked at Mako and just dropped the bomb on him.
Pretty much. Roman to the top side, it's iBoy and Mako, but Flandre, again, Sanguinpool will keep him safe. But it is now the 2 versus 1 that Flandre has to deal with. And I assume Urgot will be either moving to mid or bottom right here. Ah, good guy Ray is actually helping out with the blue buff, sending out over to Scout in the mid lane. And then we'll have chaining up the lane assignment, so it'll be the 2 versus 1 in the bottom side too.
But we can see the Urgot. It's very scared to actually go towards this turret. So it does look like Snake will have the tempo advantage in terms of pushing right here.
And again, they still have the Rift Herald. So any sort of tempo advantage that can get them into the mid lane first is going to be a 1-for-2 special.
For those who are interested, it was Inspiration second from Urgot because he went Boots and Biscuits actually. So it didn't go towards Domination or even a Resolve for Bone Plating.
Well, if he wins this game, there should be 5 Urgot players around the world that are interested.
Yep, that's true. They'll still be watching this game anyway for Inspiration, you know. EDG going to be knocking Haro into the team, but the team currently consists of Guoguo and SFM by himself, so he's going to get caught out. Coming in with... Oh, wow, he didn't even steal it. He actually gave it over to Scout.
Good guy, Haro.
Good guy, Ray. He had the ultimate locked on.
It was a great way to break the tempo coming out from Snake. They were overextended in the bot lane. Instead of defending the second tower, EDG choose to cut the entirety bottom half of Snake off.
Now they can push in the mid lane, take this outer mid lane tower, bringing that to 3-1 in towers. All outer turrets down now for EDG. They will back away. Pretty happy with how that haul went. Yeah,
at this point, EDG just need to neutralize their lanes and start pressing their forward vision. You can already see that they've got a lot of it pretty deep in Snake's blue side jungle. Keep that alive, keep it refreshed, wait for iBoy to complete his next itemization. You can see he has the Rage Blade right now, which he should actually have a ton of gold in his back pocket, and then look towards that Baron. That's their game plan.
Wow, forcing the Realm Warp out of Guoguo right there. Scout was just punishing that Rise in the side lane, unable to lane across from that Cassiopeia.
It's interesting to note that now we see both of the top laners in the bot side. We've seen this being done against Urgot quite often, is that the Vladimir can actually leave lane and kind of roam faster than the Urgot. Urgot is such a slow champion that we do see more teamfight potential from basically any other pick, especially with an unsealed spellbook where you can go for the Ghost.
It's going to be just dropping the Herald in mid lane, getting a nice bit of trunk damage, but not going to turn into an objective here for Snake. And yeah, go back onto that Urgot point. I'm still trying to figure out, even now, like what the Urgot pick is for, because in the top lane, it doesn't win into the Vladimir, and it won't really want to group either, but we'll be able to push. If it scales hard enough, it will be able to like side push, but the Vladimir, as you said, will be able to roam.
It's for you, Pulse.
It's for me. Thank you, Ray.
I actually think you got it right, Pulse. You know, the idea that you can deny a lot from Vladimir if he's put in a low situation. It's kind of weird though, because EDG don't necessarily want to expend everything on a Vladimir.
Yeah.
That feels like that team fight would be lost, but see how it works out. I feel like Ray's probably going to be grouped up more with the team. He has been using TPs to help push down bot lane towers, rotating and flanking fights. Really hasn't been a side lane Urgot that much.
True enough, and for now EDG are able to push in every single lane simultaneously, pushing into the top lane, the inner tower, pushing into the mid lane now as well as the rotation comes in for Haro and the team, and they're pretty much just gearing up for getting all this vision down around the Baron side.
They pretty much can't fight any team fight at this point on EDG. They do have a gold lead, and also their item spikes are much better on the Varus. Oops.
Well, that was definitely scary because it was a snake in the grass, and Hudia will pay for that one. Crystal and Flandre backing away. Oh, he's tagged by the Glacial Prison. That would have been very awkward if iBoy's ultimate had also landed 2 more kills to EDG. Great picks.
And look where SOFM and Guogo are. This should be EDG inside track on mid lane. No one is going to be able to stop them. Flandre can't step up because of the threat of Mako. And Ray's also preparing the bot lane wave.
For all those Urgot players out there, you do want to use your W onto turrets as long as you have less than 1 attack speed, because it is more efficient. So Ray will be using this one, pushing in this minion wave, and to hit the turret. His team isn't quite there yet, however, the dragon has spawned, so probably going to be moving over. Nope, they're going to go into the bot side first.
This is the E. Almost gets the disdain off.
Yeah, it is a stubby dash. It is definitely quite short range. And EDG, well, there's no minion wave, so they'll back off. They'll all take the blast. Most of them will take the blast cone over, and iBoy will take the long trip round.
Pigeons are still in the air. They'll take a while to land.
Yeah, this is your captain. We're ready for
Please trap him. Prepare for cross-check. And EDG will go ahead, go back to base, so they still pick up the Mountain Dragon right here. We'll take a look at what the next one's going to be. It is another mountain. Fantastic. So EDG have control.
And again, EDG's composition, we've said it repeatedly, it's really about the Baron. The Mountain Dragon is only going to help them at this point. But we've come to that window, that 20-25 window where they really need to rip open this lead if they want to sprint away with this game, because it is a very heavy mid-game based composition.
And Snake, they're still waiting on that IE to be finished on Crystal. I don't think they're going to be taking fights anytime soon.
Wow.
And that's the other key thing. You know, the fact that Snake could have gone into a pick like Caitlyn, I would have preferred. I think if they're unable to outscale EDG, if EDG do fumble the next, 5 to 7 minutes of this game and don't snowball, I think the fact that Crystal is on Ashe may give them a hope in late game fights.
Yeah, for sure. But now Crystal doesn't even have 2 items. He is farming quite well, but iBoy is just ahead of him at this point in time. Crystal is really just trying to get towards those 2 items, as you said. Scale up. Crit 80 carry is always going to do so much damage in the late game.
Oh, and that's
in the bot lane, again, good dodge. I believe that was the ultimate being used there as well, so ambitious play there from Ray.
Problem with Ashe here is I think the reason they picked Ashe here is they want some utility out of Crystal. You know, the Caitlyn is very good in the late game team fight, but against Avaris, she's still not going to win the lane, and you also can do less things with the Caitlyn.
So FM pushing over with his team here, getting wards down. Snake pushing into this mid lane now as well. It has started to become about the Barons. It has now spawned, so EDG are keeping control over this area.
And we'll have to see if Ray's actually able to break this bottom lane. You can see him and Flandre trading back and forth. The last trade didn't necessarily go in Ray's favor. Flandre was able to just soak up a lot of that, but if it eventually starts to break, that's just another arrow in their quiver.
EDG, they've actually started this one, and Cassiopeia and iBoy are starting to rip this one apart. It's actually just going to go straight down to EDG. Really like the fact they started off with 2 people. One's a damage dealer, one's the tank. UB DPS, I'll go in.
This is the perfect composition for EDG to run banner minions. Look at Snake's composition. They have triple AP and an Ashe that's really under-leveled.
This is also just the perfect composition that EDG run all the time. We talk about, teams' personalities, their identities, the shells of comps that they run. EDG are notorious. It doesn't matter if it's Clearlove, if it's Haro, if it's Mouse, or if it's Ray. They will run Baron-oriented comps. They are the #1 team when it comes to Baron objective control, and they have made their legacy off of how they play around this objective in the LPL. There is a reason why teams say that they can beat Chinese teams, but they can't beat international teams, and a lot of it has to do with how they abuse Baron against the other LPL teams.
In terms of how EDG have adapted from Game 1 to Game 2, yes, the communication is slow, but it's there. Game 1, it did look like there wasn't communication. Now, EDG are starting to get it together. It's still enough to bring them over Snake. Yes, they need to kind of accelerate now, but with that Baron, it's going to help them start cracking some of these harder to reach towers like the inner mid, the inhibitor tower itself. So EDG are starting to speed up the pace.
Yeah, they do have very good uses for that one Banon minion. It's going to come down to Hudia to really use his minion dematerializers to stall out these pushes. And props to him, he did keep 4 of those charges.
Yeah. Teleporting right into EDG right here, so Mako's going to get an easy pulverize. Ray's pushing forwards along with Haro, trying to get in range, follows up with the ultimate. Hudia will cleanse out of that one. And over the wall, Flay. Oh, Ray! He's going to take out SOFM. Fear beyond death. The knock-up onto Crystal as well. EDG just completely run over Snake.
I'm now a fan of Urgot. I'm all aboard this champion. I want to play it every game. That was awesome.
Please join the Church of Urgot, Frusk. I'll be your guide. As EDG crack open the mid lane tower,
They're not
and with
stopping.
3 people defending, I think they're going to keep on going. They've got Banendorf. He's ready to go. He's going to knock down this tower with the team. It's a 6 versus 3 right now. And Hoodia, he's stepping up. He wants to get near to the minions, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that. Flandre, he's knocked up by Mako. He's playing bodyguard for his team, keeping everybody away. Double Nexus turrets down. Flash forwards. Flandre is going to give it that old college try. 1 versus 5, but it's not enough. Nexus is down. EDG bring it to a 1-on-1, moving to our 3rd game. And Urgot, he gets his first win.
Oh my, I never thought I would see the day. I think this game, though, it's mainly about like the Cassiopeia pick for Scout. I think that was a huge point. He could win the lane very comfortably, 20 CS up on the lane, and it's also a pick that really stonewalls what Snake wants to do. Snake wants to run into you. They want to catch you. But if you have something that can counter-engage and dampen their aggression, it works very well for the team composition.
And it did help open up that mid lane priority, so Cass could start cheating towards that bottom lane, towards Mako's Alistar. So I agree. It started with the Cassiopeia, but I feel like it really ended with Mako's Ali. You cannot give him that pick. You see what a difference it makes for EDG, the fact that they have access to do something in that bottom lane.
And also the recipe seemed to be there from Champion Select as well. The fact that taking away the Tam Kench means it won't be just the easy devour the AD carry, run out of there and deny a lot of the damage. It was the fact that bottom lane was heavily exploited here by EDG.
Yeah, and talking about the bottom lane being like heavily utilized, I just want to point out that this game had nothing to do with the Urgot.
I was just about to say that. I was like, don't you even bring up that damage. He's literally sat in the side lane hitting Vladimir, who just healed it back up and let him hit again. I don't want to hear it.
You know I was going to bring it up, but yeah, unfortunately the Urgot pick doesn't really work that well into the Vladimir, but the rest of the map was winning, so it means that Urgot can just sit in the lane, push into the Vladimir, and just be another threat.
You too can look amazing on Urgot if all of your lanes are winning.
There you go. It's kind of a win-more condition.
To be fair, though, Ray did play his team fights really well. He knew what his identity was. We talked about how Urgot probably wasn't going to be played into a side lane, even though that makes sense for the champion's kit. But he was constantly making the flakes and making them work on a very slow champion. So huge credit to Ray to actually pull out an unorthodox thing in the LPL and utilize it effectively.
Yeah, he's the first one to make it work at the very least. But coming into this game, so EDG able to at least bring it to a 1-on-1 now. You know, we're not going to have a complete wash over to Snake, and I think part of that looked like the communication was better. Obviously, there were multiple moments where it looked very slow. I think back to like the first blood that we saw as well in some of those team fights.
Well, I actually think the communication didn't change all that much, but what really improved is that they didn't need to involve Haro in the bot lane, so they basically could kill Crystal 2v2, and that's really what started the snowball. The first kill on Crystal, the tower dodge, kill again, and then when he walks out to lane, you get the teleport behind him, and then kill him again. So 3 rapid kills in succession on Crystal really set him so far behind. In that composition, they only had one source of auto attack damage, and that was from the AD carry in Crystal. You take that out of the map, they couldn't stop any push, they couldn't stop any ban minion, and you just kind of rolled them through.
Yeah, it's minimizing the links in the chain. You know, when you have a champion like Rakan, yes, he can hard engage, but he needs follow-up there. You know, it's not going to be the same thing as an Alistar that goes in and can set everything up, can protect you. Like, he can protect, he can support, like, he's doing it all right now. Whereas with the previous composition, like the Sejuani had to follow up, the Gnar had to follow up. Now you have all of these kind of independent pieces moving around, and they don't have to plug and play so cleanly.
So do you think a pick like Taric that you mentioned before for us would have been better than, say, the Braum, able to just go into those team fights and lock everyone down?
I think that this was I like the Gragas pick because I liked how it would have worked for the composition should Snake actually enter the mid game evenly. But for the early game pathing, yes, SOFM made it work. He got his blue buff. They did punish Haro overextending, but he definitely got exploited in the jungle. And it shouldn't have gone that way. Cassiopeia should have had the inside rotation, but unfortunately, you know, some wonky level 2, level 3 skirmishing meant that Guogo had the rotation anyway. So I just think that they need to kind of go back to their jungle priority, because if they don't get the Tahm Kench to protect the bot lane, it has to be on SOFM to do so. And with a champion like Gragas, he wasn't able to do that. It didn't have the same impact as the Skarner.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing like we kind of discussed about the ban picks, is that we have seen SOFM go on the Olaf as their first pick. If they're going to continue to go blue side, one of those junglers can win you the bot lane almost automatically. It takes away strong picks like the Varus, like the Xayah. Those picks are so dangerous going into the Olaf, and if they're going to continue to be on blue side, you can't choose to not ban it and just first pick the Olaf.
Right.
Yeah, reminder is that Snake have banned Olaf twice from blue side. if they have blue side again, why not just, you know, not priority pick the Ryze and grab hold of the Olaf? Because Talia, Azir, Ryze, all these champions are getting through the draft phase. Cassiopeia, there are plenty of options. And yeah, Grogo looks best on Ryze, but he also looks decent on those other champions.
Yeah, and talking about how SOFM was kind of exploited, I think some of that has to go over to Haro. The credit has to go over to that guy, and he will pick up our man of the match and our MVP for this game. Now, he went onto the Sejuani, and he was better than he was in game 1. He was able to get into those lanes and assist people.
I will say, though, he did give first blood over to the enemy team, and the bot lane snowball didn't have all that much to do with
this is
him.
the first series where I've completely disagreed with every single MVP
I think
so
Mako
far.
should have been the
Yes.
MVP.
That's fine. He'll be the MVP in our hearts.
There we go. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, we say that a lot, but Mako obviously had an exceptional game. He was on the Alistair, he was back on his signature pick, and it was just multiple times. Yes, a Ryze kind of teleported him at one time and he just pulverized him, but apart from that, he was still looking for fantastic engages, always came at the right time.
It's about empowering the bot lane, and Snake figured out the blueprint for that in game number 1 with the Tahm Kench. The adaptation came through. This is a best of series, a best of 3 right now, so the question is, who has the final form? You know, what's the next level of adaptation? The Tahm Kench is denied. I don't think Alistair is going to get back through this time around, so is it going to be priority in the jungle, or is it going to be priority in the bot lane to give Snake the safety to outscale EDG?
I think we're still going to see Alistar, but the ban picks are probably going to change from Snake's side. Just pick a stronger jungler. Make sure you can walk into Haro's jungler and take him out of the equation at all times. Make sure they're always playing blind in the bottom lane. If you can cut the map up where you have the bottom side and EDG has the top side, you almost automatically win. And that's what Rogue Warriors did.
Well, we'll see who has the stronger final form as we head to a quick break, but we're coming in with our final game of the night right after this.